Welcome into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller,
And my name's Brett Parnell.
and let's dive in. You want to
Let's
tell them what we
go.
have today?
Yeah, absolutely. So we also host a show on this channel called Roundtable Talk, all about the traders. So we thought we would do a split player episode. We haven't done a player episode in a while. And since both of these players only played one full season plus a bit of edge content in the case of one of them, we thought with the traders going on now, we would do the Natalie Anderson and Yam Yam Aracho episode. Check both of them out on the traders around 8:30 on Peacock in the US. And for those of you up here in Canada, 9 p.m. on Crave every Thursday.
Yeah. And see, you say one season plus a bit of edge content. It was enough of a season to make Final Three. So shout out to her for that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you come back from the edge, you're in a great spot. I just mean it's not like we have two full seasons to talk about in the episode
Yeah.
because how much do you really have to say from the edge, other than a couple key moments,
40
such
did
as
give us a
the
lot
advantage.
more with Edge than 38 did because of the challenges and the tokens, though.
Yeah,
I
and because they wanted us to see the players on 40, they didn't really care. It went for 38.
I am also probably in the minority on this. I like the tokens concept.
Yeah,
I'm sad that was only a one season thing.
same. You make a good point.
So
I think if they did it, if they did like just advantages left and center because they lost, they should have no say in it other than being on the jury. Except most of them didn't even make it far enough for that. Really, it could have been a really good concept that they should really think about maybe bringing back. And if they do something in the 50s, that's kind of like a Ghost Island.
yeah, for sure. So that would be, or even like they can incorporate fire tokens into like the Journey Island.
Yeah,
They don't even need to do a special like Ghost Island type of twist. Journeys are a regular part of the show now. So
exactly.
bring back the fire tokens, y'all.
At least for now, we'll see if they're a regular part of season 50 because we voted on that, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember voting on fire tokens.
I don't know. We voted on Journeys.
Oh, did we? I know we voted on advantages. I don't remember journeys or not. I know fire tokens was not mentioned, but
Yeah.
back.
I forgot what we voted on until the players are now talking about the possibility of fan votes in some of their press.
Yeah.
So it looks like they told the players going into 50 what questions were posed to the fans. That's kind of disappointing. I would have loved to see what would have happened if they didn't know anything about it.
Or that they knew we voted on things but didn't know what we voted on would be
Yeah,
my preference.
exactly. Anyway, let's get into Natalie. We're starting in Survivor Blood versus Water 2 on day 0. But I think we need a precursor to this. Natalie Anderson came into Survivor unlike everybody else, having had the experience of reality television before. She and her sister Nadia, who are a Blood versus Water pair here, were on the Amazing Race together. And if you've seen them on Amazing Race, I think a lot of people didn't have very high hopes for this team.
I have not seen them on Amazing Race, but that's what I've heard.
You and Kevin on Roundtable Talk need to rewatch one of those seasons
You mean Pit
that
Stop
they're on.
House?
Pit Stop Pals, yes.
One of the shows on this channel.
I mean, hey, we can watch Amazing Race for, or we could, well, Pit Stop Pals for sure. We can always watch Natalie for a few weeks on New Generation Challenge podcast too.
Yeah. I think Every
She's
show,
done everything.
every show on our network should just simultaneously be rewatching Battle for a New Champion all the time.
Please. I mean, I'm higher on that season than some people, but
It's too many rookies and not enough people I recognize. Is my complaint with that season.
yeah, but like you with season 48 of Survivor, when the people I'm cheering for go really far, I don't care.
Yeah. Like that
And Michelle
season,
goes really far, Olivia goes really far, Jay goes really far, so I'm good.
and also like if I want to get a little bit older, like Battle of the Seasons, not the like old Battle of the Seasons, but the new old Battle of the Seasons.
Yeah,
It's just too many rookies. Like I watch the challenge,
yeah,
the vets I watch every season when there's
fair enough. But
so
getting into
Battle for a New Champion was fun at times. It's just too many new people for me.
yeah,
But
but
bring the
getting
one girl
into
from Spies, Lies, and Allies back with the weird laugh, please, and just have her be watching stand-up comedy the whole episode.
oh God. But I'm getting into Natalie's game. So what I kind of meant by that is Natalie and Nadia on Amazing Race were very an erratic team, often not only clashing with other teams, but they were clashing with cab drivers, clashing with locals.
Oh, that's
It was
wild.
it was a bit of a disaster. But fast forward to Survivor, and I think the biggest part of Natalie's game happens on night two, when Natalie is not even involved in the game at all. And that's that Nadia, her sister, goes to tribal council, and a light bulb goes off in my head as I'm watching this. And it's that everything we saw in Amazing Race wasn't Natalie Anderson's fault.
Yeah,
It was her sister's, who totally misplaced tribal council, refers to a gay man as one of the girls without his consent to that at all,
yeah,
and basically takes an episode that she had no business in going home and inevitably gets herself voted out by being all over the map, and really shows a lot about that season of Amazing Race. And then you, as the season starts to go on, episode 2, episode 3, you start to go, oh, Natalie might be a really good player on her own. I think the best thing that happened to her in this season is that she was playing on her own.
yeah. Me too. I think if her sister stays in the game to a point where they can be together, this doesn't go nearly as well.
If you saw Amazing Race, it does not go well at all.
I believe it.
And then the interesting thing is, in this season, the second person to go out is Val. And when I say it's an advantage in Blood versus Water to have your loved one go out, if I asked you, Bruce, who are the two most memorable players on season 29, who would you say?
Natalie and Jeremy.
Exactly. And they both had the ability to just focus on their own game and make alliances where they needed to and not worry about what was going on another beach.
I will say third place is definitely Keith though, and his loved one stays around for a while.
That's true. And we also notice a little interaction with, I mean, Keith is part of it to an extent, not as bad as Wes, but an interaction with some of the other players, notably Missy, where Wes could have easily got Keith into trouble.
He could have. And I will say also, if you were to ask me that same question, who's the most remembered player from the first Blood versus Water?
Yep.
My first instinct is Sierra, whose loved one, well,
Right.
I was going to say loved one didn't go out early. Did go early, but came back. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that, which way that case goes in the argument, but
I think that fits the argument too, though, because if Laura is sitting on Redemption Island, Sierra doesn't have to worry about what Laura's doing in the pre-merge game.
Yeah. And clearly Sierra felt it was an advantage to not have her loved one there because she directly sent her home. So,
As if we haven't heard that line enough.
yeah, for sure.
I'm not commenting on you, I'm commenting about Jeff.
Oh, I know. But yeah, Natalie does lose her loved one early, and that gives her a way to kind of reason to focus on herself and what she's doing and not have to worry about anyone else. And also, we don't see it as much in 29, but in 27, we see that all the people who lose their loved ones early team up and target the pairs. So that's another reason that having your pair gone could be an advantage.
Yeah.
We don't really
But
see that as much in 29, though.
That's true. Moving back to 29, there is one moment, though, where, and not to defend this person at all, but where Natalie, I think, might land herself in trouble, and she ends up getting through it. It works out. But where the Natalie from Amazing Race kind of sets back in, and that's when Jeremy gives her information about another player that she knows nothing about, and Natalie goes right at John Rocker in the middle of a challenge, despite only finding out who he was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. And to
Not,
be fair, the information Jeremy gave wasn't incorrect.
no, it was 100% correct, and that's why I said I'm not defending John in any way.
Yeah.
But it brought back the bit of erratic gameplay that you see on Amazing Race.
I will say, interesting though, this is the first of now 2 times we've seen Natalie involved with confrontation with someone on one of these shows.
Yeah.
Centered around rockers, around comments people have made that were offensive. Rockers, I don't know what all he said, but it covers a couple different topics.
You can Google it.
Yeah, we saw something similar because you mentioned Roundtable Talk with traders last week. And you and I were texting about this last night because I rewatched the episode. Well, Michael Rappaport, who I hate that I'm in this spot where I'm gonna sort of defend him because I can't stand him, but he's going on about who he thinks is a traitor, and he says they're good at keeping secrets, and that gets taken as, oh wow, you're being so homophobic, and like everyone starts fussing at him like it was a John Rocker, like it's Jeff Varner on Game Changers. The difference is, and again, can't stand Michael Rappaport, saying that very clearly. I fully believe Michael Rappaport did not intend to be homophobic. Like what was taken and what were intended were two separate things.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just interesting that we see Natalie come up in 2 of these types of situations. That kind of remind me of each other. She's obviously a lot more upfront with the John Rocker one. It's pretty much just her, where the Traders one was 2 or 3 people commenting. But these situations remind me of each other a little bit, so that seemed worth mentioning.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, in the tribe swap in this season, Natalie, and I think this really benefits her game, that she's not the only person without a loved one. She's really put onto a tribe that's mostly all singles, with the exception of Josh and Reed.
Yeah, I will say, by the way, going back to what we were talking about, if it's better to lose your loved one early or not, Kelly Wentworth, who's my pop of hers up here next to my Natalie pop,
Yep.
went home because she was playing with her dad, who just kind of put her in a bad spot multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I've always said that
it's better to lose that person.
Like Kelly Wentworth that we know from Second Chance and from Edge of Extinction, I think would have came out if she would have pulled a Sierra at the pre-merge.
Yeah.
We'll never know, but
Or she just would have never been on a tribe with Dale. We'll never know. But
yeah, fair.
but yeah, this tribe swap is interesting for sure.
It is. Um, Anything you want to add from the pre-merge?
Not really.
So at the merge, we see really the first example of one of the most memorable duos, and that especially one that extends outside the game, and that is Natalie and Jeremy.
Yes.
For people who don't know, Natalie is the godmother of, I believe, one or two of Jeremy's children.
And for some reason, production thought, hey, let's put them on a tribe together in Winners at War. That won't put a target on their backs.
Yeah, and then they also thought, hey, let's put Tony and Sarah on the same beach on day one.
Not the same thing, but I get your point.
No, but Natalie and Sarah are such similar players with the physical game and the strategic game. You could easily swap them. That's my point.
Yeah, for sure.
And it wouldn't change the tribe dynamics very much.
Yeah. Other than you would have had Sarah and Rob together before the swap. So maybe all that swap drama on the Green Tribe is different, but
Yeah, it probably never happens. I mean, I would see, and you'll never know because there wouldn't have been this like Natalie, Jeremy, Michelle group that kind of falters early, but it would have been a totally different season. But I mean, who knows what would have happened if odds are Rob and Sarah played totally different games in relation to each other.
yeah, it's interesting though. If Natalie's not on that tribe, who's first boot? We may never know. Maybe Danny.
We will never know, but Danny is one name that comes to mind. I think there's also a good chance that it's maybe a big old school name like Robert Ethan.
Yeah,
Let me ask you this just while we're on 40. If Rob is the first boot, does Amber go deep into the game?
maybe. I don't know.
I think it's possible.
She got voted out because of that stupid poker thing that they thought was a thing, but
Yeah,
wasn't
but
a thing.
if they already know that Rob is out of the game, they wouldn't care.
Yeah, but the whole like poker thing would still like there was enough of them on that red prize.
I think CBS edited out a lot of the talk of there's a married couple in this game.
Yeah. Rob would still be on edge though, so with the thought of him coming back, you'd want both of them there.
Yeah, who knows?
Back to 29. You mentioned Natalie and Jeremy, and they're a great duo. One of the things I love too is Natalie being told who to vote out and her not liking how much power someone has. And since it's a split vote, accidentally voting the wrong way to give the people that have power less power and telling them it was an accident, but it was on
Yeah,
purpose.
this is her best strategic move of the season. This is where she wins the game.
It's so good because that's where the
So,
tide starts turning for her.
and then going back to camp and saying I didn't know that I voted incorrectly. I made a mistake, and people believe it.
It's brilliant.
Like players, that would lead you to be the next one to go.
Yeah, just a brilliant move by her.
It is. Um, then Natalie does get a kind of pre-40 taste of Edge where she's on Exile Island, and we get a kind of back to what we talked about, an early reflection of being without her sister.
Yeah, this is really cool content.
Yeah.
and just such a great storyline from her. So much strength there. Losing that person that she had that strong connection to early on and pushing through, doing it for Nadia, and you know, seeing how much power John Mish had and kind of doing that work to slowly take him down instead of just immediately targeting him, playing the long game
Yep.
was brilliant.
Another thing I want to bring up about Natalie before we get to the end game is how close she really ran her alliance. And
Yeah,
that she was in charge of this alliance so much that even in a challenge, nobody would speak against what she wanted them to do, almost as if it was like a political party. And notably, that leads to the death of one of everyone's favorite challenges in touchy subjects.
yeah. She killed one of my favorite challenges. That's
Same.
not great. Well,
But
the group as a whole did, but
it was fascinating to watch. It's disappointing what the end result of it was. I always felt that while it's hard because touchy subjects, the players are just can just gang up on somebody and then they can have there's no way around losing. It's tough when it's for immunity because you can literally just get somebody to be voted out. At the same time, um, it works a lot better as an immunity challenge because people can't assume that they can share the reward.
yeah,
The one thing I would like to see in this, and I think maybe it might lead to it being played differently, let's hypothetically say that they brought it back for 50. I know they won't, but let's just say that they will. Um, if Jeff makes it very clear that only the winner gets to go on the reward,
yeah,
then you wouldn't have people saying, let's have our alliance stick together and they'll let two more of us go on the reward so we'll all take each other.
yeah,
That's what really killed it in the long run is that they could share the reward.
so yeah, so we'll see. It likely never comes back, but it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
So where are we at now?
Um, End game and how she wins.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's one of the best end games we've ever seen, honestly. Those last
Yeah.
few rounds are just incredible.
Um, Notably that Natalie is able to repair her spot in her alliance despite the vote in error in order to get her, Jacqueline, and Missy to vote out Keith. Because I think when we get to the final six, Keith Nail is the only player here who can beat her.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone loves Keith, as we know.
And rightfully so. Keith is amazing.
Yeah. So once she can rebuild that relationship, at this point, she's golden if she gets to the end. And she does get to the end. And it's a 5-2-1 vote, but we got to remember in that 5-2-1 vote, jurors have a loved one in the final three. If it's any other season other than a Blood versus Water, Missy is a zero vote finalist.
Yes, agreed.
And John doesn't vote for Jacqueline, so Jacqueline would get one vote in this case, not two.
And it should have been zero because Reed was only doing it so Missy wouldn't finish second. This should have been a unanimous
Interesting.
jury vote, to be honest.
I did not know that.
That's what I've heard, which, given his jury speech, it tracks.
It does track. Exactly like I said I heard about Philip and Ralph.
Yeah. So this Based on the resumes, this should have been a unanimous jury vote. Instead, we get a rare plurality jury vote where all three get votes.
Yeah, not something we see very much anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
we
the
saw
whole new
one.
era, we've seen it twice. So,
Yeah,
and it was
and
the
the
last two
time
seasons.
I was going to say, the time that we saw it last, I didn't think it was that close. But hey, what do I know? I only podcast on this show. I'm not on it.
They all three got votes on 49, didn't they? Am I remembering that wrong?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm
Yeah.
saying, and if you lined up all the new era seasons, I would have said after. It's weird because D and Savannah were two of the closest winning games, and I would have said the two of them should have won unanimously.
Yeah. And instead, D wins by 2 votes and with a zero
One
vote
vote.
finalist. And Savannah wins 5 to 2 to 1. So
Yeah.
who knows? That's weird.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of winners at war, we already mentioned Natalie being on a tribe with Jeremy. And I think that that's the big part that causes her to get voted out first, because you can't say she was bad socially. She definitely would have helped Sully in challenges, but she's gone.
And like, even if you do want to try to say bad socially, a lot less messy socially than Danny Boatwright was.
Yeah,
Who like
and a lot
I
less
like
messy than
Danny on
Adam
her
was,
original season. Okay.
and a
Danny
lot
on
less
Winners
messy
at
than
War is just messy and
a lot a
chaos.
lot less messy socially than Adam was too.
Yeah. Adam had numbers though, at least.
Yeah,
So yeah, not we do get the Natalie Parvati dynamic on Edge with the log challenge, with sending Tony the extortion. So like we're still influencing the game. We're still playing even though we're on Edge. Which
yeah,
I like that Edge 40 has these challenges and has ways that people can still be building a resume,
yeah.
like the log challenge, like finding the extortion thing, rather than just Edge 38 where we're just sitting there not doing anything.
I mean, I could sit on an island in the South Pacific for a month right now.
Well, that island though,
Yeah,
where they're
I
making
would do
it as
any week.
terrible as possible.
I would prefer to have Wi-Fi, but they had a Hawaiian sling, so I could do it.
Fair enough. I'd rather have Hawaiian rolls, but
I went out to Kolong about a month and a half ago, as you know, 2 months ago almost now. And all I could think of the whole time I was on that Gondolas Beach is how lucky these people were just to have 39 days of nothing here and seeing those sunsets and those stars.
there's
It
also
was
the
just
whole
fascinating.
there's also the whole starving and playing a mentally draining game thing. But
That is true. I had pizza and red wine.
yeah, not exactly the same experience. Probably
No,
they got to
not
go
at
to an
all.
animal sanctuary though, and you didn't. So who knows who's really winning?
That they did. Though I got to go scuba diving.
Just don't break off the coral reef.
No, don't do that. If you do that as a certified diver, you will become uncertified very quickly.
I just want to know how that happened. Like, did CBS not tell him not to do that?
Probably not. To be honest, a lot of these, a lot of what today is common knowledge about environmental preservation in the oceans is not something that they knew 25 years ago.
Was it not illegal back then?
It was probably illegal, but it didn't stop a lot of tourists from doing it.
I've heard CBS had to pay a huge fine.
Yes, they did.
And if they did, then I would have thought they would have been aware enough to tell their contestants, hey, don't do this.
You'd think.
If we ever get him on the show, we have to ask about that.
Yeah.
So, oh.
So Natalie is influential on the edge. On day 5, she finds the first advantage, which is a safety without power, and she gives it to Jeremy.
For sure.
Then she finds another one that's a vote steal, which she gives to Sarah. And then she finds the 50-50 coin, which she sells to Michelle. And then we get this is extortion.
Yeah. Which is,
So Natalie is, to her credit, even though I've bashed the edge game a bit, playing the best she possibly can with the cards she's being dealt and is just racking up fire tokens like crazy.
I would just like to point out, speaking of the Edge game and how well she played on Edge, that I have not asked you about finishing placements once this time, and I'm not going to, just because I want to be nice to you.
Thank you.
Even though I kind of mentioned it there, but that wasn't intentional.
I was waiting for that.
I was actually trying to be nice and saying, hey, I didn't ask about this, and didn't realize that that was mentioning it. But oh well.
And then speaking of advantages, she also finds a disadvantage and plays that on Nick.
Yeah.
So she's playing advantages for her allies, Jeremy, Sarah, Michelle. And then she's playing disadvantages on Tony and Nick at the same time.
Yeah. Doesn't
And then,
Ben get a challenge disadvantage at some point?
you're right.
Because I remember asking probes
I
too.
have this in my notes on her. She played the advantage on Nick, who then coincidentally paid the fire tokens required to her in order to be able to pass it off on somebody else, which he played on Ben.
Okay. I remembered Ben asking probes who did it and thinking like, why would he tell you that? But so I had not seen 35. This season was my introduction to Ben.
I'm watching 35 right now.
Nice. He's pretty similar in both seasons, honestly. It's not like some other players. It's not like JT where it's just two completely different people.
I don't think Ben would be that much different anytime he plays.
No, he was interesting on the challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad interesting. I haven't decided, but he was interesting.
That's fair. So then with 14 fire tokens to her name, Natalie on day 35 buys up rewards like crazy. She has 2 advantages in the challenge. She has an immunity idol, she has peanut butter, and she's just ready for this battle back.
Yeah, for sure. And she kills it. Well, I wouldn't say kills it. Almost doesn't win. It's super close considering she had 3 advantages in this challenge. But
yeah. Let me ask you something, because I always think Tyson is a genius in playing the Edge of Extinction in this game. What do you think is more valuable, an advantage in the battle back or a jar of peanut butter the night before the battle back?
well, we saw Natalie win, so I'm going to go with the advantages based on the results we have.
Fair, but she had both.
And she had not just a challenge advantage, but 3, like two, at least 2, maybe 3 of them.
3. My point is that I personally think having that energy is more valuable than one advantage, which tends to be like, okay, you don't have to click in 3 ropes. I can do that in 5 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. I could argue it either way, honestly. I would probably still lean towards the advantage, but who knows?
It all depends what the advantage is, and that's the big wild card. You never know.
Yeah.
It could be huge. It could be it is literally an advantage if they just said, you're putting in 25 planks and you have to put in 24.
Yeah, but if
But
it's like, hey, you have to untie all these knots in a row, but half of them are done, that's huge.
that's it. You never know.
Which we've seen. I don't know if it's that, but we've seen advantages related to those like string of knots before.
Yeah, we have.
So, or like if it's a table where you have to land three balls and one of them's already done.
Yeah, that's true.
Challenge
And
advantages have been a wide array of things over the years. So, not
they
knowing
have.
what it is kind of makes this question hard to answer.
Anything could happen, but going back to it, Natalie gets back in the game. Um, she wins final immunity challenge, and here's where it looks like she might be all alone against people who are not in her alliance. And instead, Ben wants to go to the jury and vote for Sarah.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was about. I've heard a lot of theories, but hey, it means that Michelle gets to the end, so I'm happy.
I do find it interesting that so many people like to argue and debate of, oh, Sandra did or didn't quit Winners at War, which the answer is no, by the way,
Yeah.
because she raised the flag after being voted out. But
If the flag is on edge of extinction, it is part of the game.
well, yes, but she like Sandra didn't quit Winners at War, in my opinion.
I agree. But that's what I'm saying. Raising the flag isn't quitting because the flag is in the game.
Yeah, here's where I'm going though. You've seen all the did Sandra quit arguments. I don't see near as many people complaining that Ben quit when he literally said, "Hey, vote me out. I'm done."
Yeah,
That's worse to me. Like he didn't quit either, but that's worse
I
than what
agree. It's
Sandra did.
worse. I I don't necessarily like Ben's argument. I do like the result of it, so I'm not complaining. But based on, and I mean, this is a big part of the game of Winners at War as a season, but of both. It's interesting because at this point we're saying either Ben is going to go home or Michelle's going to go home. And what's the one thing that they both have in common this season?
Um, I'm not sure. What is it?
A big part of the story is that people said they didn't deserve to win.
True.
And I think that that's where this comes in is Ben just had an idea that if I'm sitting at Final Tribal next to Tony and Sarah, this jury is going to shit on me for 6 straight hours.
To be fair, if he was at Final Three next to those two, he'd have no shot of winning.
Of course, that's the point. He didn't want to have to defend his game knowing he had no shot.
Yeah, the like
And I get it.
he kind of didn't have a game for most of the post merge. He was
No,
just kind of going along with whatever Tony did.
that was exactly his game.
And Denise, too, to an extent. And I've said this before. Denise voting out Sandra was great move for drama, great TV. She became the Queen Slayer.
Yep,
Really sucky game move. You had someone
yep.
wanting to work with you enough to give you that idol, and then you vote them out and you struggle to find footing and struggle to find allies the rest of the game.
That's it. And the other option was voting out Tony, who wins the game. So,
Yeah, good job, Denise. Also, that season was my introduction to her. I watched that before I watched Philippines. So
mm,
that kind of influenced me in Philippines, even though I knew she won. I liked Malcolm better the whole time anyway.
fair.
Which I probably
I,
would have anyway if I wasn't already biased, but Winners at
I
War
have
kind of made
no
me not a huge Denise fan.
I have no comment about Survivor Philippines and who I wanted to win of all seasons. That's all I'll say.
Well, that by saying that, you pretty much told us all who it was.
Well, I didn't know that he was the way he is when I watched it.
I know, but like you could have just let that moment pass. You didn't have to take the moment to say, "I have no comment on this," because now we all know without you even saying it.
I know. I was just joking. I know there's someone who'll laugh at that.
I did like other than the big thing people know about. I also watched a YouTube video. He did a Ponzi scheme, also apparently, or
Yeah,
something like that.
I'll tell you about that after.
All right. Well, that's what he was in trouble for when they found the other stuff on his computer.
Yeah.
I only knew about the stuff they found on the computer. I learned like last year about the first thing.
Oh God. It's like a friend of mine said the other day. It's hard to watch that now and not watch the fire now and not look at that scene totally differently than you did 20 years ago.
I feel like people cheer for the fire now.
Yeah. Back to
Or Abby chopping a coconut and it hitting him in the head somehow. People cheer for the coconut now.
yeah, they sure do.
Back to
Um,
Winners
back
at War.
back to the final of Winners at War before we get into Jam Jam. Um, Natalie ends up winning final immunity. She takes Michelle to the end, which is not great for my favorite player's game. Sarah takes out Tony, and then the rest is history. Natalie gets 4 votes, but it's not enough to win the game. I do think if Natalie keeps her original decision and takes Michelle, lets Michelle go to fire against Tony, we might get a much different result.
Yeah. I think
As Michelle said, that being nervous about going into fire is why she ended up with 0 votes, and it cost her her chance to win.
I think because we saw Rob say in the voting confessional, and who knows how real this was or if he was just saying
Yeah,
it for the camera. You almost played perfect, but you didn't take this guy out. And he holds up Tony's name. If Natalie pulls an Underwood and puts herself in fire and takes Tony out, I think she has
then
a
she can
shot to
win.
win. She gets Robin Amber's vote, I
Absolutely.
think. I still think Sarah wins in that scenario, but Natalie has a better shot than if Sarah had just beaten Tony in fire the way things happen.
My take is if Tony gets to the end, Tony wins. If Natalie puts herself in and takes Tony out, Natalie would win. If Natalie sends Michelle in to take Tony out, Michelle would be the one to win.
And see, the place where we disagree on here is the other option where things go the way they did, but Sarah wins fire instead of Tony.
That's where we have a disagreement. And I think Natalie is on the jury in that case, a la Laurel in Ghost Island.
Really? Okay. I always assumed you thought Michelle wins. Like cleanly.
I
I
do.
didn't
I
feel like
think
tie
Natalie
vote
votes
was
for
where your
Michelle to
mind went
win.
there.
I think Natalie votes for Michelle to win.
I think Sarah gets the Tony votes because
I
they
think
did a
Sarah
lot of
gets
that
some.
stuff together.
Interesting. I think she gets some of them, but I don't think she gets all of them, notably Robin Amber.
Yeah, that's true. But even without their votes, if you get the Tony votes -2, you still win.
I'd have to look at the voting history again. We'll do that another episode.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about your favorite winning game before we go into Jam Jam?
Nope, she's one of my two favorite winners for a reason. Love Natalie. But real quick though, because you mentioned the intent of this was a crossover. How do you like her on Traders so far?
Love it.
Playing really well and serving
Yeah.
some looks also.
Is
So
she ever? And she seems. I get the sense that Natalie is very calm at round table, unlike some of these like Bravo people that are just larger than life. But I really feel that behind the scenes, she's dictating the strategy this whole season.
yeah, and
And I
nobody
think that sets her up very well to get to the fire of truth and possibly win the game.
and nobody has her on their radar either, or like wants to send her home.
And it also makes it, if I say gets to the fire tooth, she could leave it as is and win the game. She could also get recruited to the turret and win the game.
Yeah,
Because I don't think anyone distrusts her.
she's in a fantastic spot.
Yeah.
So moving on to our other traders contestant right now from Survivor, Yam Yam.
Yep. Moving on to season 44.
Yeah, which was a fun season. Not super high on people's new era rankings, but a fun season nonetheless.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. There's some players here that are really memorable. Jam Jam, of course, notably Carolyn, I think is probably the best character of the era, but probably I don't think would be a great player on a return. I know this will be unpopular. I don't feel that we're missing anything not having Carolyn on 50. I think it would have been the same thing as we got on 44.
I kind of agree, but she was fun on Traders because it was a different show.
Yeah,
I didn't need her on 50 though. I don't know. Like she's gonna be Carolyn is so herself, and I love that. But because of that, we're not gonna get like a different version of her this soon
exactly.
after 44. Like,
I know we did New Era All Stars the other day, and we picked our cast that I think were mostly players that went further in the game. But if we look back to the first All Stars, there was some kind of earlier in the merge boots that did happen, like Jenna Lewis, who went really far. I think in the New Era, Franny could be in that spot.
oh, for sure. And Rob was that on season 8. Like
Yeah,
you watch Marquesas, you kind of wonder why he was on All Stars some in it to a certain extent. But
yeah. Rob was at that point in time. Rob played the game the hardest, and I think that's why they picked him, even though he went home early. He played the game too hard for his own good in season 4, but then season 5, 6, and 7 brought us Brian, Sesternino, and Fairplay, and now all of a sudden Rob's strategy was totally normal.
and then season 8, Rob went full Rob, and he played too hard again and pissed people off too much.
That's right.
But also Amber. I love Amber, but like she wasn't a huge stick out on Australian Outback. Comes back for All Stars and kills it. I agree. Franny would absolutely be that on a return. Matt maybe
Yeah.
also. Matt Blankenship, not Matt that climbed a mountain and hurt himself. Which I honestly don't blame him for. I appreciate him wanting the adventure. Just be a bit more
Of
careful
course.
when you're climbing.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
I saw
Um,
a lot of people saying like, "Oh, why would you be climbing that knowing you could get hurt?" Like, why not? What
I
else are you gonna do? Just sit in the
uh,
shelter
I
now?
climbed I climbed cliffs a lot higher than that in Thailand.
Yeah,
That was fine. It's just a mistake. Things happen. Um, Speaking of potential returning seasons, just on the topic of 44, if a lot of people talk about a pre-merge season, maybe Claire could finally do a challenge.
yeah, maybe. You mentioned big characters, and there's one major character from this season we haven't mentioned. You
Yeah.
mentioned Carolyn and Jam Jam. They were not a duo. They were part of a
No.
trio
Yes,
with Carson, who was also a fun character on 44 and
he
a
was.
huge part of both of their games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we mentioned
That,
traders. Jam Carson's a sneaky player. Jam Jam came on to traders saying, "Oh, I hope I don't see Carson." So
that was great.
yeah, so it's
So
the
the
three of
trio
them
you
being on a
mentioned,
disaster tribe, being the only three from their tribe pre-merge, and all three making it to Final Four was an incredible story.
was it ever? I was gonna say Bruce goes home from an injury. Helen is the third player out. Sarah is the fifth, and of all the disaster tribes, this is probably one of the worst.
Oh
Yet
yeah, for
they
sure.
make it. And if anyone you're sitting there and going like, if they were going to go far, you're going, they need a player like Bruce or like Sarah. You're not necessarily thinking that a player like Carolyn or Carson could go deep into the game. Jam
Yeah,
Jam, I always thought could.
I agree. So, yeah, 44 is fun. Jam plays an incredible social game and pretty good strategic game. He's just so likable, man.
Yes.
Unless you're Michael Rappaport.
And so friendly too. Unfortunately, I had to go onto a cruise ship, but like Jam Jam tells fans online, "Oh yeah, come by my salon and take a selfie" when they're in Puerto Rico.
Interesting. So he's the opposite of Kenzie.
Yeah, and he also is in Puerto Rico where, unlike Kenzie, prices are lower and time is a lot slower.
No, I'm not blaming Kenzie at all.
No, I'm not either.
I
I'm just
just
saying,
remember that being a thing she was posting a lot was don't come by the salon. So hearing
yeah.
Jam Jam say the opposite kind of made me think of that.
Oh, definitely. I thought of the same thing. I'm not faulting either or. I'm just saying Puerto Rican culture is very different than mainland US culture.
Yeah.
If, if you're cutting someone's hair in Puerto Rico and a fan came by, Puerto Rican people would not care if you took stop to take a picture.
Yeah.
Whereas American people, I don't know.
They're impatient.
Yeah. I'm not trying to insult you as I talk to you, but
I know. You're not wrong.
the Caribbean is a lot more relaxed than the mainland.
Yep. And so we even see like Jam Jam helping Carson out at one point, like helping him lead up to the fire competition, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
that was
So,
something he probably wouldn't do today if they ever meet on another season.
yeah, I'm not going to guess what's happened there, but something happened there.
Yeah, I'm not either.
So, but Jam and Carolyn still seem super close with each other. So that's really cool. I love when these like alliances become out of game friendships like that.
Yeah, same.
So,
And Jem Jem seems to have a lot of out of game friendships, even with people from other seasons.
yeah. And so, what do you think of him on Traders?
I love it. He's been great confessionals. Maybe not the same as Natalie,
I think
where
Natalie's playing better than he is.
Natalie's playing better, but Jem Jem is just being a big character in that round table and on missions and such. He's great on television. He's made for this.
Yeah, I agree. I will say he is, and the people that have said his name are now gone, but he's had two separate people think he's a traitor now between Michael and Tiffany.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this more on the other show, but I'm kind of wondering if people will realize, hey, the people that said he's a traitor are gone now. And I guess they got banished, not murdered, so probably not. But I think there's a lot more shade on him than there is on Natalie. Not that he has a ton, but she's got none.
Yeah, definitely.
So
You're right.
I don't know if he's in it, if he's here for the long haul, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so, but you never know because there's always it's gonna be interesting to see what happens next week, considering the drama that ensued at the end of the last episode.
Uh-huh.
But that's for another show.
It is. And so, do we want to do you want to go first or want me to go first for a line blindside first boot?
I'll go. I have one right in my mind. Let's go with I'm gonna give you rivals of players that we're talking about today. So your options are Carson Garrett, John Rocker, and since we're kind of tying our two shows together, Michael Rappaport.
Dang it, I was gonna put Rocker and Michael both in mine too. You took my idea of just coming up with a Carson's
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
easy line here. No question. I'm first booting Michael because and blindsiding Rocker because Rocker's big and strong and will help me stay away from tribal pre-merge. But the second the merge hits, he's a unanimous merge boot.
Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna take it a bit differently.
Okay?
I'm gonna I'm gonna first boot Rocker. I think he is just a lightning rod that I want nothing to do with in this game. I'm going to. You said it was an easy decision, but I'm going to blindside Carson.
Hold on, Rocker's a lightning rod that's too much for you, but you're gonna go to day 39 with Michael Rappaport and he's not a lightning rod?
Yeah, I think I could have something in common with Michael that would make me trust him.
Interesting. He,
I won't get into what that is on air, but I really think that I could, if I could get Michael to be calm, he would be a good ally for me. But I also think that he would piss off enough people that if I'm sitting next to him in the end, I easily win.
you really think you can keep him calm?
For the right people,
Okay,
that's my decision.
fair
Everyone can
enough.
laugh at me. I don't care.
Carson's my
Michael
easy
Rappaport is
align.
coming to the end and getting 0 votes.
Carson's my easy align because either of the other two, I don't know that I would survive trying to spend that much time with them and work closely with them for 39 days. That would drive
Yeah.
me to the point of insanity. So if I could first boot both of them, I would. But it's funny that we use both of them because I was going to do that. So,
Sorry.
oh, no problem at all. I am going to go with both of our two players here and say Natalie and Jam Jam.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the survivor player they both played traders with and say Sesternino.
Interesting. I'm going to align with Jam Jam. I think he would be the most loyal out of these three. I'm going to blindside Sesternino, who I feel would have the most respect for the game on the jury and be the most neutral. And I'm going to make Natalie Francesca 2.0.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing is I'm losing at Final Tribal this time. There's no way I just don't. The player I'm the least scared of, though, is Jam Jam. I'm going to align with him. Natalie's super strong
Mm-hmm.
physically and just great at that part of the game. I'm going to blindside her because I don't want her to be a two-time first boot like you do, and because she's going to do great in challenges. She'll help us stay away from tribal pre-merge. And
Yeah.
I am this is current day Sesternino. I'm gonna first boot him because thanks to RHAP, he has so many connections to so many people. And if this is an all-star season, he probably knows half the people we're playing with or has interviewed them. So
Yeah.
like you've got too many connections. You're gone. I love him, but no way I'm letting him gain footing with the type of
So the guy
connections
who
he has.
says always first boot the winners is going to not first boot the only non-winner here.
Oh,
Interesting.
well, when it yes, but when he has connections to like that many connections and knows the game that well, he's terrifying. No way that
Yeah.
I'm letting that guy try to gain footing. This was fun.
Interesting. Yeah. Very fun. Great episode. We will be back next week with another. We got very few off-season episodes left. We're going to be getting into the fantasy draft and the cast analysis through 50, probably right around Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
And then we'll be into the new season. And I've decided to change my mind and flip my schedule up a bit. So I will not be traveling over an episode during 50. I'll be watching every single week. So there won't be any guest hosts unless we have someone join us.
Nice. Well, with that being said, check out all the Reality Realm content. We mentioned Roundtable Talk heavily. There's also Pit Stop Pals and New Generation Challengers. Check those out. Buy stuff from the Redbubble store. Message us with questions or thoughts and opinions. And with that being said, grab your torches and head back to camp, everyone. Goodbye.
Night.